All right, so we're going to talk about the 3.7 homework, graphing linear inequalities. So remember, we've established a rule that if we've got y is greater than mx plus b, we know we'll shade above the line. If y is less than mx plus b, we'll shade below the line. Number 4, so I want to get this into y equals mx plus b form, so I'm subtracting 2. Now, since there's no x in my equation, I know that I've got a horizontal line at -2, and so I graph my horizontal line at -2, and then because its y is greater than or equal to, I know it's a solid line, and I shade above. Number 5, I took the time to flip so it's in the form that we're most used to. Now this time it's only greater than, so I know that I'm going to need a dashed line. I can see my slope is 1, or 1 over 1. My y-intercept is 0, so I graph my y-intercept. I go up 1 to the right 1, graph my second point, sketch my dashed line, and then again, since it's greater than, I will shade above. Number 6, I want it in y equals mx plus b form, so I subtract x. Once x is on the other side, I can see my slope is -1, or I've rewritten it as -1 over 1. My y-intercept is 0. So I graph my 0. I grow down 1 to the right 1. I know it's a dotted line because it's simply less than, and since its y is less than, I know that I shade below. Number 7, I start by flipping my inequality. Then I divide by 2, getting me a slope of 1/2 and a y-intercept of 0. So I graph my 0. I go up 1 to the right 2, graph my second point. Since it's greater than or equal to, I know I've got a solid line that's shaded above. Number 8, again, I subtract x. I divide by 2. Now I can see that my slope is -1/2. My y-intercept is 0. So I graph my y-intercept. I go down 1 to the right 2. Since it's greater than or equal to, I know it's going to be a solid line shaded above. Number 9, I start getting into y equals mx plus b form, giving me a slope again of -1, this time a y-intercept of 1. Excuse me. So I graph my y-intercept of 1. I go down 1 to the right 1. Since it's simply greater than, I know I've got a dotted line that is shaded above. Number 10, start by subtracting x, divide by -1. Notice that when I divided by -1, I had to flip my sign. I know my slope is 1, or 1 over 1. My y-intercept is -1. So I graph my y-intercept at -1. I go up 1 to the right 1. Since it's greater than, I've got a dotted line shaded above. Number 11, I begin by subtracting 2x. I divide by -1. Notice that when I divided by -1, it flipped my sign. My slope is 2, so I wrote it as 2 over 1. My y-intercept is -2. So I graph my y-intercept at -2. I go up 1, up 2 to the right 1. And since it's greater than or equal to, I know I'll have a solid line shaded above. Number 12, I subtract x from both sides. I divide by 2. I have y isolated. I can see my slope is -1/2. My y-intercept is 1. So I have my y-intercept at 1. I go down 1 for the -1. I go to the right 2 for the +2. And since it's less than or equal to, I have a solid line shaded below. Number 13, I subtract 3x from both sides. I divide everything by 2, getting my slope of -3/2, my y-intercept of 3. So I graph my y-intercept at 3. For the -3 in the slope, I go down 3 units. For the +2, I go to the right 2 units. Since it's less than, I know I'll have a dotted line shaded below. And then finally, number 14, I subtract 2x. I divide everything by -3. Since I'm dividing by -3, I know I need to flip my sign. So I've got my slope of 2/3, my y-intercept of -2. So I graph my y-intercept at -2. I go, I go up 1, 2, to the right, 1, 2, 3. Since it's greater than, I know I've got a dotted line shaded above. All right, hopefully this helps. We're going to continue graphing linear inequalities in the next couple days using systems.